Hello guys, this is Justin with the Frozen Oak YouTube channel. Today I'd like to take a deep dive into the Smith & Wesson Tactical Series, also known as the Smith & Wesson TSW line. The Smith & Wesson Tactical Series is easily identified by the tactical markings on the slide. Also in the model number itself, you will have the number followed by TSW, which stands for Tactical Smith & Wesson. The line was initially introduced in 1998. It consisted of 6 different pistols, 3 in double action only, and 3 in traditional double action. The pistols were designed and marketed as a replacement or upgrade to the original 3rd generation line of pistols from Smith. This line incorporated the heavy use of CNC machining, which led to tighter tolerances, which is supposed to lead to better reliability, better accuracy across the board. So I believe Smith had a better product and they wanted to pass that on to the consumer. So that's how we came with the Smith & Wesson Tactical Series. If we can look here at some of the stats of this pistol in particular, the 4513 TSW, 6 rounds, 45 ACP, Novak low profile sights, 28 ounces, empty, aluminum alloy frame, stainless steel slide. Take a closer look at it. This is the one where the mags are very hard to find. 6 rounds. As you can see, the mag well itself is cut so that the mag fits flush. You also notice the absence of a rail. And also on the slide itself, it just says tactical. It don't include the caliber. The line stayed in this configuration from 98, 99, and then in 2000, there were some modifications. If we check the price list here in 99, this pistol here itself, Smith & Wesson 4513 TSW, $781. This is a 1999. We can compare that up to their value series, the model 908, 466. Like I said, in 2000, they did some upgrades and some modifications. That's what you can see here. The most obvious thing being the addition of the rail. Also, you have the black controls compared to the stainless on the original model, on the 98, 99 model. The mag well itself is not undercut, so you get one more extra round. You also have a loaded chamber indicator. And this is also when they introduced the full size models. So 98, 99, you only had the compact. Some more information. This is all out of the Smith & Wesson 2000 catalog. Here's some information about the full-size models in 40. The compact model. 4513 here. We have the weight change of 28.6 ounces. So gained 0.6 ounce in weight, which I'm guessing is in that rail riveted onto the front. Also, in the 2000 model, you lose the undercut, so you get 7 rounds of 45 ACP. Here's the 5906 full size 9mm. Take a closer look at it. the 3913. So you get the addition of the rail, get the extra round, 8+1, loaded chamber indicator, and it stays in this configuration up until 2006. That's the last time we see it in the catalog. Here's just a quick price check. 2004. Go down here. 4513. $980. That's in 2004. 3913. $806. The full size versions, 4566, $1,000. The 4006 TSW and 40, $1,001. Like I said, 2006, Smith & Wesson puts all their focus into the M&P line. And you're left with 2 models only. So you get the compact 9mm, such as this one. And you get the compact 40. MSRP 2006, $876 for the 3913, $1,021 for the 4013 TSW. And during this time, like I said, Smith & Wesson was focusing on the M&P line. The civilian use of these pistols in particular probably was not very high and didn't warrant, the continued production for the civilian market. But Smith & Wesson was picking up contracts for police, big police departments. As you can see here, Atlanta Police Department awards firearm contract to Smith & Wesson. And that's what you get here. Full size 40. Marked Atlanta Police. If you notice, this guy does not have a rail. The story is that these departments that were already carrying the older 3rd generation line of Smith pistols didn't want the rail because they wanted to be able to use their same holsters. So what you got was the newer style frame. It's just don't have the riveted rail. 11 rounds in the mag. You can read here. 1,500 of these, of the Atlanta police models. $900,000 is what the contract was worth. So Smith & Wesson was still busy, pumping them out to law enforcement. And the pistol here that I'm missing, that I know everybody's like, well, wait, there's one more. And that would be this guy. And this is the peak of the line. This is the California Highway Patrol 4006. So this is a 4003 aluminum frame, 4006 steel frame. And in the model number itself, or in the serial number, you have CHP, stands for California Highway Patrol. And you can see here the rail is built into the frame. Another look at it. Here you can read about it. So California CHP had already had the older model, 3rd generation of the 4006, and they just replaced it with these newer ones. 9,700 to be exact. So this was 2006. So this is when the civilian market seen the disappearance of these pistols. Smith & Wesson was still making moves, on the back end with these police departments. Also, a couple more models I'd like to talk about is the West Virginia State Police. They had a 4566 TSW. And that's what that looks like. That would be probably the holy grail of this line, of the TSW line. Night sights. You got the black finish, 45 ACP. They're marked West Virginia State Police with the shoulder patch. This guy here, a long story behind it, is a Kentucky State Police 4006. So basically, or 4003, 4006. So it'd be a steel frame version of this. Went to KSP because they were going to replace their 1076, I believe, their 10 millimeters. And it got there, I think they ordered between 800 and 1,000. And it got there, and basically the officers and other people were not happy with the decision to continue with the steel frame, Smith & Wesson pistols. So these pistols were sold off at auction from Frankfurt, and they hit the private market. Most of them unissued. So that's the Smith & Wesson TSW line, the tactical series. These guys are rare. They say probably less than 1,000 because you had maybe 1 full year of manufacturing of that first, the 98 to 99. And the rail, it came along at an interesting time because the Glock, the third generation Glock, dropped in 98. And of course, it included a rail. So Smith & Wesson playing catch up, trying to keep that market. They almost hastily riveted this rail in 2000. So 2 years later, you get a rail from Smith & Wesson on their premium line. So let me know what you think. Smith & Wesson Tactical Series. I'll include some shooting footage here at the end. Also, just want to shout out this guy here, ibuyItright.com. That's where I was able to source mags for this guy here, the 4003, which was a 4006 mag, but they're factory Smith mags, and I feel like he's got a fair price on them because I feel like there's a lot of price gouging going on when it comes to these older third gen mags. So like, subscribe, let me know what you think, and we'll see you on the next one. Go.